Hello, everyone, and bring it on in for the NFL Week 9 picks and preview here at Beef Upfront on Pick Swap Media. Ryan Coyle joined alongside Kevin Cannon, doing this about 45 minutes this week outside of the Thursday night game. Thought we could wait and probably not really preview the Thursday night game this week, as it is Ravens-Dolphins, two teams currently not in the playoffs, but the Ravens, I believe, actually now are the favorite to win the AFC North after the Steelers have dropped back-to-back games. We see Lamar Jackson now back in the fold tonight. Coming off that hamstring injury, that's going to be something to watch, but excited to have him back on the screen. Dolphins, impressive win last week against the Falcons, but still, I think that's a team going nowhere. But we got a handful of really good games to get into this week. Chiefs-Bills, probably the best matchup in the AFC over the last 4 to 5 seasons. It seems they meet up in the playoffs every year and the regular season every year, so excited to get into that one. Talk about the Patriots, who have been one of the surprise teams of the league. The Colts, sitting at 7-1, have a challenging game, I think, going to Pittsburgh. See if the Steelers can get off the mat. But a lot of stuff to get into this week, Kev. Hard to believe, already week 9, though.
Yeah, no, definitely hard to believe that too. But going through the 5 games we're going to talk about today, super excited for all of them. I think they all should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, the Chiefs Bills, as I said, it seems like each and every year they're matching up in the regular season, and then they inevitably meet up in the playoffs as well. You can lump kind of the Ravens into that mix too, but right now at the top of the AFC, it's the Chiefs, it's the Bills, and it's the Colts, and those are the 3 teams kind of running it right now. You look at the AFC North, a bit of a mess. We'll see what the Ravens can do over the second half of the season, but the Colts definitely in that conversation. We'll talk about them, but we're going to start in the NFC this week. We'll preview 5 best games on the schedule, go with our dog of the day, which is our favorite underdog, our lock of the week, our favorite bet, and throw in a 4-leg touchdown parlay as well. But we're going to start in the NFC this week. In the NFC North with the Vikings at 3-4. They travel to Detroit to play the 5-2 Lions. 1 o'clock kick on Fox. Lions 9.5-point favorite here. Over under 47.5. JJ McCarthy officially back now for the Vikings. Lions coming off a bye. Any chance that he can come out in his first start since that ankle injury and beat the Lions, Kev?
I'm going no, and I'm going like a pretty emphatic no. I have the Lions winning pretty big, 34-20. Lions minus 9.5, over 47.5. I mean, there's just no way the Vikings win this game. I think the Lions are coming off a bye. They're 5-2 against the spread this season, and then they're also 3-0 against the spread at home. The strength of this Vikings team was the defense, but they've really struggled against the run. They're bottom 10 in the league, giving up 130 yards a game. So I think Montgomery and Gibbs can have a huge day, and then that just opens everything up for the Lions offense. Goff hitting all the weapons they have out wide. And then the Lions as a team have also owned the Vikings recently, winning the last 5 matchups and winning by double digits at home every time they've played since 2022. And then for the Vikings, the whole J.J. McCarthy injury thing's been really weird. Has he not been playing because he's injured, or they just don't really trust him, think he's ready to go out there? Or kind of maybe both. And like if Wentz was completely healthy and playing well, would McCarthy be playing this week? It seems like they kind of had the decision made for them with Wentz's injury, and he's out for the year now. So I just don't see this one going super well for J.J. McCarthy and the Vikings. I think the Lions win pretty easily.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think the Lions are going to win this one pretty emphatically as well by double digits. We talk about it all the time. Like if you just go back and look at Dan Campbell's history against the spread since he became head coach of the Lions, far away the best coach against the spread in the NFL. And, you're going to bet the Lions blindly against the spread each and every week. I would not, get mad at you. I would not tell you not to do that. They've been pretty much an automatic cover machine. I think they do it again this week. This is a welcome back to the NFL game for JJ McCarthy. And let's be honest, in that first game on Monday Night Football against the Bears, he looked terrible in the first half, but he kind of took over in the second half, used his legs. Then that second game against the Falcons on Sunday Night Football, he didn't look good at all. And maybe he was hobbled by that ankle injury a bit there in the second half, but he hasn't looked or has really convinced me that he could be the guy going forward for Minnesota. It's looking more and more every week like Sam Darnold is legit, and last year was not a one-year wonder type of thing. And Kevin O'Connell's probably sitting there hitting himself that they let Sam Darnold out the door and they gave the keys to JJ McCarthy. But he has the chance to kind of turn that fortune around. Coming into the year, a lot of people were saying that the Vikings had maybe the best overall roster in the league, and it's a roster that has faced some injuries this year, but I never really saw that on paper, and I definitely don't think I've seen it week to week. The quarterback has a big deal with that. I know they've had Carson Wentz over the past few weeks, but that offensive line has been terrible. JJ McCarthy now, what can he do? A little bit more mobile. Let's see if they're able to run the football more. And Justin Jefferson, only 1 touchdown on the entire season. What can he do going forward as well for this offense? A lot of questions for this Vikings team. And when you look at the Lions, they're right now the betting favorite to win the NFC. Above the Packers, above the Rams, above the Eagles, above the Buccaneers. The Lions are the favorite right now to win the NFC. So I think you got to go with this team. I think coming off a bye as well, they're looking strong, being able to run the ball. The offensive and defensive coordinators are both settling in for this team. As we said, the best against the spread team in the league under Dan Campbell. I'm going to take them to win, take them to cover. Give me Lions 31-21, Lions minus 9.5, over 47.5. I think the Lions are in control from start to finish, but Vikings kind of get some garbage time points down the stretch. All right, we stay at the 1 o'clock window. We go to CBS now in the AFC with the Colts at 7-1. They'll travel to Pittsburgh, who's 4-3, coming off that loss on Sunday night to the Packers. Colts are a 3.5-point favorite here on the road, over under 48.5. Kevin, are you buying into the Colts as the best team in the AFC? And if so, do you like them to win on Sunday as well?
Yeah, I have them winning kind of convincingly here as well. I have the Colts 34, Steelers 24. So the Colts cover 3.5, over 48.5. I know you're probably going to mention it. Mike Tomlin as a home underdog, he's just incredible at it. 21-7-3 against the spread as a home dog. That's great, but I'm just not picking them to win this game or even cover. I just don't see it this week. And they're playing arguably the best team in the NFL. The Steelers defense has really been struggling this year, and the Colts offense is just straight up explosive. Jonathan Taylor is at the top of a lot of people's MVP rankings, and then Daniel Jones is just playing really solid quarterback, really solid football, and they just have a ton of solid weapons on the outside as well. The Colts offense or team is scoring nearly 34 points a game, and then the Steelers gave up 33 and 35 the past 2 weeks to the Packers and Bengals. I think they're both pretty decent offenses, but I would definitely put the Colts ahead of both of them. And then the Steelers defense as well has just been a major disappointment this year, and the offense has been very hit or miss. Rodgers has played decent, but the run game's been almost non-existent. I think this game is a little bit similar to the Lions game. I don't see it being super close, so I'm going Colts winning by 10.
Yeah, I think it really is time to buy into the Colts. Week after week, they continue to show up. And I'll say what I said a couple of weeks ago, but are they kind of the Vikings of last year where we get to the end of the season and the real Daniel Jones comes out? Or is this just him? Is this the elite quarterback now in the AFC, joining the likes of Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson? Or are we starting to throw Daniel Jones into that conversation? The way he's played this year, I think we definitely have to. Shane Steichen, give a lot of credit to him and that coaching staff for helping get Daniel Jones into the right situation and making the most of his talent, but also Jonathan Taylor as well on an MVP level pace, on pace to break all sorts of rushing records, especially with the touchdowns. I think he's already at 15 touchdowns on the season. Pretty insane numbers there. But I really like this Colts team. I think they're legit. But everything at the end of the day is going to come down to how they perform in the playoffs. But they continue this pace. They continue to win all these games. They're going to put themselves in position there to be the number 1 seed. They got 2 games up on the Bills, or excuse me, 1 game. I think one game as of right now up on the Bills, 2 games up on the Chiefs, with only 1 loss there in the AFC. But I'm going to fall into the trap for this one and take the Steelers to cover at least. The Steelers didn't cover as a home dog last week. Mike Tomlin, that's a spot that he's historically great in, and last week they failed to do it in the Aaron Rodgers revenge game. They played pretty well in the first half, but fell apart in the second half. I'm going to take them to keep it close and cover this week, but still give me the Colts to win. If the Colts go to Pittsburgh and win convincingly, though, you have to start talking about them as a Super Bowl team. I still feel like people are just kind of putting it into the Bills or the Chiefs there in the AFC. But if the Colts are able to go to Pittsburgh, win, I don't care if it's by 3, I don't care if it's by 10. If they're able to go there and win that game, I like them to be a potential threat to win the AFC at the end of the day. So I'll take the Colts to win, Steelers to cover, 30-27, Steelers plus 3.5, over 48.5. All right, we go to 1 o'clock on CBS as well. Falcons at 3-4. Probably the most confusing team week to week in the league. They travel to New England to play the 6-2 Patriots, who, according to Pro Football Focus, have played the first easiest schedule thus far this season and have the second easiest schedule remaining. So everything kind of working out for the Pats thus far. Pats minus 5.5, over under is 45.5.
Yeah, I'm going Pats winning 27-21. So Pats minus 5.5, over 45.5. I can't stand the Falcons, but this could absolutely be a game where they come out. The offense looks awesome. They score 30 and upset the Pats. But with that being said, there's just no way I'm betting on that to happen. It does look like Michael Penix will be back this week, but the offense should just run through Bijan. Only 9 carries last week, I think is criminal for him in that offense. I know they were down, but it's still with how explosive he is every time he touches the ball. I think you should try to get it to him almost every play. And this week it may need to be through the air because the Pats defense, especially against the run, has been really solid this year. They have yet to let up a 50-yard rusher all season. And then on the Pats offensive side of the ball, Drake May is just looking just super good. But the Falcons do have a stingy pass defense, so hopefully if they play well, they can kind of keep the Falcons in the game here. And the Pats have won 5 straight now. They've covered the spread in every single one of those wins. I think they make it 6 in a row here and continue to just look like legitimate AFC contenders.
Yeah, as I said, Falcons on a week-to-week basis are the most confusing team in the league. Some weeks that defense will look really good, and then like last week, they didn't show up at all, and the Dolphins absolutely stomped them. The offense some weeks can look really good. They're really creative with the run game with Bijan and Tyler Algier. The passing game hasn't been great this season, but still, they've shown in spurts that they can throw the ball down the field, can move the ball with Drake London, Kyle Pitts. But then other weeks they just don't show up at all. What Falcons are you going to get? I think they're really kind of the epitome of that 9-8, 8-9 type of squad. Is Kirk Cousins or Michael Penix going to play this week? I don't really think that matters. I like the Patriots to win, but the Falcons maybe this week that they do show up and they keep it somewhat close and cover that 5.5. So I'm going to go Pats 28, Falcons 24, Falcons plus 5.5 over 45.5. All right, we go to the AFC now. A lot of 1 o'clock games on our slate this week. Broncos 6-2 at Texans 3-4. 1 o'clock on Fox. It seems like they front loaded the schedule this week, so all eyes would be on Chiefs Bills at that 4:25 slate. Broncos 1.5 point favorite here on the road at the Texans. Over under 39.5. Kev. Texans looked pretty good last week. Maybe starting around into form.
Yeah, I'm going Broncos winning a close, low-scoring game, 21-20. So the Texans cover, and then over 39.5. Like you said, the Texans had a nice win last week. It was against a very depleted Niners team. I don't think that completely alleviates my concerns about their offensive line. And then also after his great rookie year, CJ Stroud just hasn't been the same guy. I know it's not all on him, but the production just hasn't been there. And this is a very good Broncos defense. Obviously, Surtain being out is a big loss for them, but I think they still have the D-line to create pressure and make just life super hard for CJ Stroud. They lead the league in sacks by they have 10 more than the next closest team. And then they've also been pretty effective at stopping both the run and the pass. But the Texans defense is also super legit as well. And I don't think Bo Nix is going to go out there and light them up. So I think right now the Broncos are just a little bit more of a well-rounded team. So I'm picking them to win a low defensive scoring game.
I'm going to go with the Broncos to win this one as well. One of my favorite picks of the week here. I just quite frankly don't think the Texans are going to be able to block that Broncos defense up front. That Texans offensive line, one of the worst in the league. CJ Stroud all season has been running for his life, and that passing game hasn't really got going. Last week, they got going a little bit. They looked a little bit better, but this week they play one of the best defensive fronts in the league. The Broncos have a bunch of guys that they can send at you. Benito has been one of the best edge rushers in the league for 2 seasons now. I think they really get after CJ Stroud and that porous Texans offensive line, and they go and win this game. Make a statement that they're a contender there in the AFC as well with a win to go to 7-2. So I like the Broncos 24-17, Broncos minus 1.5 and over 39.5. All right, final game of the week, and it is the game of the week. One of the probably be one of the highest rated games of the year. All eyes in America will be on this one. Chiefs at 4-3 at the Bills 5-2. 4:25 kick on CBS. Chiefs 1.5 point favorite. Over under is 51.5.
Yeah, I'm going Chiefs winning a pretty close one, 30-27. Chiefs minus 1.5, over 51.5. For the other 4 games, I didn't struggle with them at all. I kind of looked at what the matchup was and kind of knew right away who I was going to pick. This one has me stumped. I know the Bills are 5-2 and they have Josh Allen, but there are definitely some holes on this team. Their run defense specifically is nearly the worst in the league, and the Chiefs are coming in looking like the best team they have in a couple of years. And Josh Allen normally gets the better of Mahomes in the regular season. He's 4-1 against him in the regular season. But I like the Chiefs offense right now. Rashid Rice His return just has really gotten them going. Things started clicking when he came back. But good thing for the Bills, their running game has been playing really well as of recently. I think that needs to continue here. If the running game is still at a high level in this game, it creates balance for them, kind of takes a lot of pressure off of Josh Allen. Not everything's on his shoulders. I don't think anyone would be surprised if the Bills do end up winning this game, but I think the Chiefs have started to really figure something out here, and I think they're going to be able to outscore the Bills in this one.
I love the over in this game. I think this is a really fun, high-scoring, back-and-forth matchup. Over 51.5, Bills Chiefs. Love that play. You touched on it where Rashee Rice has really added some more life and some juice to this Chiefs offense. Patrick Mahomes, I think, has looked as good as he has in a couple seasons now with all these weapons. Travis Kelce showing some life again. Xavier Worthy has been good. Hollywood Brown can show up in some spurts as well, and the running game, the running game with Kareem Hunt has surprisingly been pretty solid too. And when you look at the Bills, I think that defense is still porous for the Bills, but Josh Allen, anytime he's on the field, is going to give you a shot, and they're going to be able to put up some points too. James Cook has been lighting it up. Both tight ends could hurt you. Khalil Shakir, I think, is one of the more underrated players in the league. I think we see points, and more points in this matchup. And you touched on it too, Kev. The Bills seem to always get the better of the Chiefs in the regular season. Playoffs, a little bit of a different story we've seen, but with this being a regular season game, with this being at the Bills, with this being potentially a game like for that home field advantage in the playoffs, maybe down the line, this means a lot to the Bills, I think, to be able to get this one done at home. So I'm going to go Bills 35-31, Bills plus 1.5 over 51.5. All right, time for our touchdown parlay. 4 legs, 2 legs from each of us. One guy from the primetime games, one guy from the afternoon slate. I'll give my afternoon slate first. I'm going to go Amon-Ra, minus 115 versus the Vikings. Listen, last time we saw the Vikings last week against the Chargers receivers had a day versus that secondary 2 weeks before. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith had days versus that Vikings secondary. Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think minus 115, touchdown, one of the better plays on the board this week.
Yeah, my early game pick is Justin Jefferson plus 165 against the Lions. I think they're going to be down pretty early, need to pass the ball. I think JJ's going to just start throwing it up to the other JJ in this.
And then for my primetime score, I will go with, I believe it's a Sunday night game, Jackson Smith and Jigba plus 105 versus the Commanders. I think he's been arguably the best receiver in the entire NFL this year. It seems like he's scoring each week, and it seems like he's going over 100 yards each week. So give me JSM plus 105 for a touchdown.
Yeah, my prime time pick, Monday Night Football. I'm going CeeDee Lamb minus 105 against the Cardinals. I think Dak and the offense have a nice bounce back game after last week.
All right, dog of the day, our favorite underdog of the week. There wasn't really much on the board I liked this week. It was a lot of favorites for me. Like if, we want to take the Bills potentially to win that one outright, but I like to go against some of our top 5 picks. So I'm going to go with the Raiders, +3 at home versus the Jags. Coming off a bye, they're at home in this one. I think they can keep it within a field goal versus a Jags team that's been very up and down as well. I think we can call the Jags like the Falcons of the AFC with how inconsistent they've been.
Yeah, my dog of the day, I'm going Bengals +2.5 at home against the Bears. Joe Flacco can still put up points, but the defense obviously has to play better here this week.
All right, and our lock of the week, our favorite bet of the week, I'm going to go Cowboys, -2.5 versus the Cardinals. Listen, say what you want about the Cowboys, but historically under Dak, they've been really good at home. They're playing a very bad Cardinals team this week, a Cardinals team that if they lose this week, Jonathan Gannon might even get fired. That team might already be out on them. Sounds like Kyler's going to be back in the mix this week. They've arguably looked better with Jacoby Brissett. Cowboys at home over the past few seasons have been able to go out there, win games, score a lot of points. They're 3-0-1 at home so far this year. I think they take care of the Cardinals this week and win by at least a touchdown. So Cowboys -2.5 for my lock of the week.
Yeah, I love that one as well. I definitely would take that one, Cowboys -2.5, but I'll also go Chargers -9.5 against the Titans. I think the Titans are just really bad. They've lost their last 3 by 10 or more. I think it continues this week.
Yeah, I really like the Chargers too. I think I saw the Titans are 4-21 against the spread in their last 25 games. So not a very good record there. But all right, week 9 in the books. A lot of good games to get into this week. Be able to just kind of sit back, relax, and watch without the Eagles. That's nice. Eagles got a couple big ones coming up with the Packers and Lions over the next 2 weeks. So good scouting week potentially this week. Get eyes on these teams and see what they got to offer. But thank you, everyone, for tuning in. As always, please like, please subscribe, and we'll talk next week.